we are going to understand how you can install Visual Studio Code. Now for writing up our HTML, CSS and JavaScript program, we are going to use this Visual Studio Code. It is not mandatory to have code editor in order to write HTML, CSS or JavaScript program. Even you can use text editor. So what is the difference between text editor and why we are going to use this Visual Studio Code editor? Everything I will be explaining you in this video. So let's get started. So guys, first of all, I would like to show you what do you mean by text editor. That means you can write HTML, CSS and JavaScript program in a normal text editor as well. So a text editor is a program that allows you to open, view and edit plain text files. A text editor provides an empty display screen with a fixed length and visible line numbers. You can then fill the lines in with text line by line. Example, Notepad. Notepad is a very basic text editor with minimal features and low capabilities. That means you can use your Notepad to write HTML, CSS and JavaScript program. But guys, in our course content, we are going to use Visual Studio Code Editor. Now, what do you mean by Visual Studio Code Editor? It's a lightweight but powerful source code editor. It runs on desktop and it is available for Windows, Macintosh and Linux. You don't need to worry about if you are a Windows user, you can download this Visual Studio Code. Even if you are a Macintosh and Linux user, Visual Studio Code is available for almost every platform. It comes with built-in support for JavaScript, TypeScript and Node.js. It has a rich ecosystem of extensions for other languages such as C++, C#, Java, Python, PHP, Go, and it provides you a runtime such as .NET and Unity. It combines the simplicity of a source code editor with powerful developer tooling like IntelliSense code completion and debugging. Now, why we are going to use this Visual Studio Code editor? Because of its IntelliSense. Now, what do you mean by IntelliSense? Suppose you are new to HTML markup language. If you are going to make any mistake, if you forgot to close any tag, then this Visual Studio Code editor will help you. It will help you in debugging. It will provide you powerful tools like IntelliSense code completion. That means automatically Visual Studio Code will complete your code. It combines the best of web, native and language-specific technologies. And how you can install it? It's very easy. In order to install Visual Studio Code, you can visit to the official site of Visual Studio Code. And depending on your operating system, Visual Studio Code can be downloaded. That means if you are a Macintosh user, Windows user, Linux user, Visual Studio Code is available for every platform. Now I would like to show you how we can download and install this Visual Studio Code. In order to download this Visual Studio Code editor, you need to open your browser. So you can open any browser. You can open Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge. All you need to do is in your browser, you need to type in Visual Studio Code. And this is the official link from where you can download Visual Studio Code. So the link is https://code.visualstudio.com. Now all you need to do is you just need to open this website code.visualstudio.com, and guys, here you can download this Visual Studio Code for free. So the best part of Visual Studio Code is it is available for free. It will not gonna provide you a trial version, neither we need to pay anything for it. It is available for free. So how you are going to download this Visual Studio Code? If you are a Windows user, directly you can click onto this button. But if you are using other platform like Macintosh or Linux, then very easily you can select this option other platforms. Now, if you're a Windows user, you can click on Windows option. If you are using Linux, then you can select .deb or .rpm version. And if you're a Macintosh user, then you can click on this universal. Now here, I'm going to download this Visual Studio Code Editor for Windows. So guys, if you're a Windows user like me, you need to click on System Installer. Now, depending on your bit, if you are using 64-bit, then you need to click over here. If you are using 32-bit, then you can click on this option. I'm using 64-bit. My operating system is Windows 10. So I'm using this option, System Installer 64-bit. Now, all you need to do is just click on it. And here it will start downloading Visual Studio Code for you. So guys, here you can see that it will start downloading Visual Studio Code automatically. If your downloading doesn't start, you can click onto this link, try this direct download link. Now, once you have this exe, now it's time to install it. In my case, this exe goes inside my downloads directory. So this is going to be the exe of our Visual Studio Code Editor. And now I will show you how we can install it. Now guys, the installation part is also very easy. All you need to do is just select this exe, right click on it, and select this option, Run as an Administrator. So I recommend you, whenever you are going to install this Visual Studio Code, please do select this option, Run as Administrator. Okay, and now here we need to click on Yes, and it will start installing Visual Studio Code. So guys, first of all, you need to accept this license agreement. It's a license agreement. If you want to read, you can read it, but you need to accept this license agreement before you start installing Visual Studio Code. Now you need to click on Next. So this is going to be the location where we are going to install our Visual Studio Code. It's a by default location. It will be installed in C drive program files with the folder named as Microsoft VS Code. If you are running out of memory, okay, if you have a very less space in your C drive, then very easily you can change this location. But I recommend you to use the default one. Then you need to click on Next. You need to click on Next. If you want to create a desktop icon, you can select this option, else leave it as a blank. Okay, so in here, I'm going to select this option because I need to have a desktop icon. The rest everything will remain same. You don't need to make any changes to it. Just simply click on Next. And finally, we are going to click on this Install button. And here it will start installing Visual Studio Code in your machines. So here we have to wait for a while. So now guys, here you can see that setup has finished installing Visual Studio Code on your computer. The application may be launched by selecting the installed shortcut. So that means the moment when you click on finish, it will launch Visual Studio Code for you. So guys, here I'm going to click on finish and it will launch Visual Studio Code. Let me show you the interface of this Visual Studio Code. So this is how your Visual Studio Code editor exactly looks. So here we are going to have some release notes. It will show you the version. I'm using 1.63.2. Okay, so you can click on close. Now guys, might be possible that at the very starting, it may ask you to select the theme. Theme means you can change the layout or you can change the background color. Here I'm using this white background, but if you want to change this theme, all you need to do is on your left at the very bottom, there is an option of manage. Okay, on your left, I'll show it to you. So guys, this option you need to select manage if you want to change the color theme. So how you can change color theme? It is actually very easy. All you need to do is you need to click on to this manage you need to select this option color theme. If you want to have some dark kind of a theme, okay, or if you want dark background for your Visual Studio Code, you can select this option dark plus default dark. Okay, and this is how your Visual Studio Code will look. Okay, and if you want to have that white background, again you need to click on this manage, select this option color theme, and you can select light plus default light. So this is how you can change the theme for your Visual Studio Code editor. At the top, we have some standard menus. These standard menus we will be discussing about later on. Here, I would like to show you some important options. The very first option is this Explorer. So guys, here you can see the moment when we click on Explorer, it is saying that no folder open. That means before you start writing code in Visual Studio Code Editor, you need to create a workspace, or you need to create a folder where you can store your all HTML files, CSS and JavaScript. So that means before we proceed further, here we are going to create a folder. In a desktop, I'm going to create one folder. I can name this folder as VS Code Files. Okay, so this is going to be the name of my folder. Now you can consider this folder as a workspace where we are going to store our HTML files, where we are going to store our HTML project, CSS files and JavaScript files. So this is going to be the name of my folder. You can create this workspace anywhere, in desktop, in C drive, in D drive, or in E drive. Okay, now once you are done creating this new folder, VS Code Files, it's time to open this workspace in our Visual Studio Code. Okay, and how you can do that? You just need to select this option, Open Folder. Now search for the folder which we have just created. So that folder I have created in my desktop with the name as VS Code Files. Just select this folder and click on this option, Select Folder. Okay, and now guys, you can see that your workspace is ready. So here you can select this option, yes, I trust the author. It is just asking whether you trust this folder or not. So you can select this option, yes, I trust the authors. Okay, and you can see guys that your workspace will be open in Visual Studio Code. Now one more shortcut key I would like to show you. Here you can use Control plus and Control minus key combination to increase and to decrease the size of Visual Studio Code Editor. If you press the combination of Control and plus key, you can see that your size will be increased. Okay, and if you uses this key combination Control minus, your size will be decreased. So you can use these two shortcut options or these two key combination, Control plus and Control minus. Control plus will increase the size and Control minus will decrease the size. Now once we have our workspace, now it's right time to create folders, or now it's right time to create HTML files, CSS file or JavaScript files. Here I would like to show you a demo how we can create an HTML files and how we can view an output of it. So guys, here before we create HTML file, we are going to download an extensions. Now what do you mean by extensions? If you want to download support for other libraries, or if you want to download some other setups, you can use this option extensions. On your left hand side, Visual Studio Code provide you an option of extension. Just click on it, and guys, here you can install very popular and some famous extension. Suppose you need to write C++ code in your Visual Studio Code, then you can use this extension. Now what is the benefit of installing this extension? It will provide you IntelliSense. And what do you mean by IntelliSense? It will provide you code suggestions. If you are going to make mistake, then this IntelliSense will help you how to overcome that error. So guys, here we are going to download and we are going to install one extension. And guys, the name of that extension is Open in Browser. So if you want to install extensions in Visual Studio Code, open the Visual Studio Code for installing extensions that will help to open the web pages directly on the browser. So which extension, guys, we are going to download? We are going to download and install this extension Open in Browser. Now what this extension will do, it will preview your HTML file in your browsers. We are going to use HTML for designing web pages, and in order to view the final output, we can use this extension Open in Browser. Now, downloading and installation of this extension is quite simple. How you can install this extension, I'll show it to you practically. So guys, here in Visual Studio Code, first of all, you need to click on this extensions icon on the left. You will be able to find out this extension icon. Just click on it. And here you can search for Open in Browser. Okay, so you can search for this extension Open in Browser. So let me show it to you properly. So this is the extension, guys, which we are going to download. What is the benefit of this extension? It will preview your HTML file in your default browser. Okay, and how you can install it? Just simply click on install. As you can see that it start installing. We have to wait here for a while. Some details of extension will be provided to you, that it is used to preview HTML files in a browser. It will preview HTML file in your browser, Firefox, Google Chrome, and Internet Explorer. Okay, and now guys, you can see that install text has been gone, and now you will be going to have this manage. If you're going to have this manage icon, that means you are done installing this Open in Browser. Earlier, if you remember, we were having that install link, but now we are done installing this Open in Browser, and once you are done installing this Open in Browser, you will be going to have this manage. Now before you proceed further, whenever you are going to install any extension, I recommend you to close your Visual Studio Code and reopen it. Okay, so here you can go to the file option and you can click on exit. Okay, here we are just refreshing our Visual Studio Code. So whenever you are going to install any extension, just reopen your Visual Studio Code. So here I'll double click on it. Okay, and now guys, in our workspace, we are going to create sample HTML file. So this is our workspace, and in order to create new files or in order to create subfolders, you can play with these icons. So the very first icon is used to create a new file. If in this Visual Studio Code files folder you want to create some subfolders, then you can use this option, new folder. As of now, I'm going to select this option, new file. Okay, and the name of my file will be test.html. Okay, so this is going to be the name of my file, test.html. And here I'm going to use one standard HTML code. So this is going to be our standard HTML code. I'll just change the title to it, test page. Here I will be using an h2 tag, and same piece of text I'm writing, test page. Now we need to save. In order to save your HTML file, you need to go to file and you need to click on save. Okay, or you can use a shortcut key, Ctrl+S. Okay, once you are done creating your HTML file, open your Explorer, right click on it, and you will be going to have this option, open with default browser. So remember, we have just installed an extension, Open in Browser. So we are going to have this option with the help of that extension, open with default browser. So now you need to click on it, open with default browser. And this is how your HTML page will look. So guys, for our HTML, CSS, and for JavaScript programming, we are going to use this Visual Studio Code editor. Okay, and once you are done creating an HTML files, I'll show you how to exit. Now, if you want to close this Visual Studio Code files, first go to the file menu. Okay, and this is the very first option which you need to select, close folder. Okay, it will close your workspace. Okay, so the very first option which you need to select is go to the file menu and click on close folder. And if you want to exit from your Visual Studio Code, then you can click on to this exit button. Okay, or you can use this exit option. So that's it for in this session, guys. In this session, we learn how we can install Visual Studio Code.